the ability to protect Patrick Mahomes. And Jalen Moore was paid a lot of money. And a lot of people were like, did we spend the money the wrong place? Should we give it somewhere else? You pay him to be able to be the sixth offensive lineman to step in these situations. And he stepped in my opinion, and did nothing but play very well. He did exactly what he was supposed to. So I specifically got the matchups of him versus Aidan Hutchinson, and I figured that we could go through it just as a context of this. And then we could talk about some big picture offensive things. But like I just said, I mean, the two things that really stood out to me, especially watching him in preseason and what I expected to see, his comfortability taking more aggressive sets, and I'm glad that they're allowing him to do that as well, specifically so that he wants to play that way. It feels like it, even though he's not the elite mover with the athleticism that Josh Simmons brings to the table, it still allows the pocket to have breathability and space for Mahomes to be able to operate. And I think because of his aggressive sets and comfortability doing so, that really does matter for him. And you're going to see it throughout this tape in the way in which he attacks Aidan Hutchinson a lot on some of these snaps. And it's not necessarily perfect, but I think he did a really good job all night getting hands on him at a distance that he could recover when necessary, to be able to create that space for Patrick Mahomes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can clearly see Pat trusts this line this year. You know, even when there is pressure, and I look.
Yeah, I did want to say real quick. This was the one where he really got beat badly. Again, taking that aggressive set. But even still, sometimes, you know.
Yeah,
but even if you lose, but the way you're losing, unlike, you know, Wanye Morris, who lost quick and allowed very quick pressure, even still, at least this gives Patrick Mahomes full view to say, all right, no, well, let me go ahead and break the tackle and still get this ball to Hollywood Brown.
Patrick Mahomes things.
Right. But that's a benefit at least of taking an aggressive set there. Go ahead, DG.
I just think that there's when you're facing a guy like Aidan Hutchinson, who's arguably you could consider probably going to be one of the top 5 edge rushers in this league or whatever. What more can you ask from a backup guy? Like,
nothing
to step in and take on that matchup, and there were points and times where he kept him at bay. You know, there are times when Aidan obviously is gonna win. Like, it's Aidan Hutchinson. Like, you gotta expect him to be able to do that. But I think last night proved he earned every bit of that. Not last night, Sunday night, he earned every bit of that contract that, you know, that people were so complaining about. Of why Brett Veach would do this or whatever. And I'm tired of y'all coming, like I've said this before. I'm tired of y'all coming after Brett Veach, bro. And I understand there are some deals, yes, you don't get right. Right now, Christian Fulton probably looks like a bad deal. Or whatever. He has a lot more hits than he has misses.
Facts.
You know? I even if this is only Jalen Moore's one lone start this year, and who knows what's going to happen with the Josh Simmons situation. The contract was worth it.
Absolutely.
Because now you solely get a guy who you can feel confident in. If we have an injury, somebody goes down, say Jawan Taylor can't play. He gets sick or something, you know, or whatever. We got a guy we can move from left to right tackle and be comfortable with moving him and knowing that we can still execute our game plan. Shout out to Brett Veach and his staff once again for doing their jobs and bringing in guys that are versatile and know what they're doing and can play and give you comparable tackle play.
Absolutely. If you had came into the season and said, obviously, I think coming before this game, Jawan Taylor was top 5 in snaps at left tackles and right tackles with the least amount of sacks given up coming into the year. Obviously, Josh Simmons, and more so, the biggest guy I think that had the most pressure, DG, was Kingsley Suamataia. A lot of people thought he shouldn't even be a starter based off the way he played at left tackle. And for him to get this opportunity for what he's doing now, not only has he played good football for it, he's been playing amazing football for the level of in run blocking, even more so in his pass pro. Him and Josh, obviously, it was going to be growing pains for them to get used to the position of being starters and being every game starters for us. They both have been dominant as far as run game. When we need to get behind them and get first down, they've done well. Josh has been damn near elite, arguably one of the best left tackles in football this year as far as pass pro. So if you get that comp play from him, it was a high bar for Jaylon to come into for Sunday night. And not only did he did that, he exceeded it. Outside of that one initial win from Aidan, they really hear his name too much from the broadcast from the game I watched. So if Jaylon Moore is going to go in there and play like that, DG, I'm not trying to troll. I think Jaylon Moore has probably been the best left tackle we've had, excluding Josh Simmons, since Eric Fisher. And that's kind of funny to say so, based on the way he's played. So if we would have had either one of these guys last year, it would have been a completely different story to 2024. Yes. And that's Super Bowl in New Orleans. So if this is the kind of play we're getting, Pat is obviously clearly comfortable. He's playing like an MVP again, doing all the numbers. We're scoring at a very high clip because we're comfortable what we can do not only in our effective run game, but what we can do in our passing game. This is the reason, like DG said, why you pay all these offensive linemen. So all of you radio heads and talk show hosts and social media clickers, like, were upset saying Trey Smith was an overpay, Jawan Taylor was a reach or an overpay, and Josh Simmons was a reach. And you can have all your concerns. This O-line has been arguably the best O-line in football this year. So I better see a lot of tweets. I better see a lot of flowers on that timeline because y'all had a whole lot to say in June and July. So just keep that same energy when they start playing well.
Yeah. And I'll say Kingsley looks a lot more comfortable as we go on game by game.
Let him play reps.
All you need is reps.
Let him play football. He was athletic for a tackle. He's incredibly athletic for a guard. Let him play football. I promise you he'll get better. And guess what he is? Getting better. Wait. Just like I told you guys. Everybody that wanted to cut him from the team last year, wanted to bench him during preseason, y'all ain't said nothing about him because he's played very well. I don't know. And this is so funny. Because, again, people compared it to Mike Caliendo, said that Caliendo should be in there. We never saw this level of play from Mike Caliendo. Never. Certainly not in the run game. And legitimately versus a really good defensive line in the Broncos, his only game that he's played at guard prior to this season, that was a full game that counted, he played well too.
Yeah.
So it was insane, the panic to me during preseason and the offseason to act like this wasn't a guy that could kick in the guard and play well. And I'm not surprised they did at all. It's y'all that are surprised.
And the biggest one for me was and I know we have to have everybody can't be in agreement when they're talking about our contracts as far as guys getting paid, and we know Creed's been an All-Pro. But for the people, some of the people that were in Chief Kingdom that doubted Trey Smith getting his money, saying that was an overpay, he hasn't given up a sack this year. Knock on wood. So, and I know he had a weakness in pass pro last year, and obviously he's gotten better. But guys have proven worthy of the money. Obviously, we didn't want to see Joe Tooney go. That was a big loss. He's still playing great football for Chicago, obviously. But you have to move on and keep the younger player. And so far, Trey Smith's been a great investment. He hasn't given up any sacks this year, and we know how dominant he is in the run game. He gets a pancake almost every week. So if you're getting that play from right guard on the left side, and we'll see what we do at right tackle next year when we make the transition, this is the money that you made the investment for. This is clearly worth it, and then some. Because Mahomes is having an MVP season because of it. So these are the reasons you invest in that group, and you do it early.
Yes.
Look, if it was baseball, then you keep Joe Tooney. You can keep on these guys to pay him. No, this is a hard cap sport. You know what you do in football? You trade the guy that may be still elite while early at a lesser position. You trade him. You pay the guy that is really good and expect him to continue to get better and be young. And now all of a sudden you're looking at a situation in which your left guard is locked in for the next 3 years at a cheap price. Your center is locked in. Your right guard's locked in. Your right tackle, who is still playing great and obviously is benefited from the competition, may end up leaving after this year. But you already got a right tackle or a backup left tackle that obviously stepped in well here. That's ready to slide over there next year. And Josh Simmons is locked in for the next 4 years at a cost control as well. All of a sudden, 4 out of your 5 spots are solidified for multiple years into the future with the way that you have built this offensive line. And I guarantee you, I promise you, the Bills have a really good offensive line. The Broncos have a really good offensive line. If you asked other GMs around the National Football League if they could take cheap left tackle, cheap left guard locked in, and expensive center and expensive right guard with another 1 year of guaranteed right tackle play, you're not finding any other GM that's saying no to that as far as that is concerned. That's how well Brett Veach has handled the offensive line position. I'm going to get off my soapbox now. I thought this was a really nice play by Jaylon Moore, swiping down Aidan Hutchinson's initial punch and being able to keep his feet moving while doing so as well, to make sure he pushed him up the arc. I just wanted to point out this rep specifically. And also shout out to Noah Gray, man, made a few catches, and that was a really nice one too.
In the gameplay.
Yes.
So the Brett Veach haters, you played yourself.
I know everybody wants to be optimistic or pessimistic. Nobody wants to be the overly positive guy. But it's okay to be honest and let things play out. We don't always have to say it's not going to work out. Let things go and show themselves, and it's showing promise. And if there's any group Now, I would rather see you dump money into DG. I would rather be the O line, respectfully. So
You can never overinvest in offensive line.
especially when you have
That's
that
just a
guy
fact.
playing quarterback, like you should never ever be upset about paying offensive linemen when you have Patrick Mahomes at quarterback.
You ran out of tackles last year. You can never overinvest in it.
Well, they like looking at this bro. They couldn't do this last year
At all.
They couldn't do this at all last year. You couldn't get this kind of because you couldn't trust that left side of your line.
No, you couldn't.
Yo.
Let me get back to. I want to get to that play in a second here, but was that a yeah? No, you could, and you could tell in the way, in my opinion, in the way that Patrick's operating, he trusts his offensive line to be able to make plays for him and keep him clean. I think that's just a big piece of it. And again, you run a little bit of RPO stuff, and Jaylon Moore can, again, his aggressive pass sets, I think, fits into that too, especially if Mahomes is getting the ball out quickly. So it all fit together. And I just wanted to put in those Aidan Hutchinson snaps. I think you say obviously one clear lost rep on the QB hit that was given up. He probably may have lost one or two outside of that, but for him to match up Aidan Hutchinson in that many reps and be able to put out that type of output, I was really impressed by Jaylon Moore's game, to say the least.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think you guys certainly agree as well. And given the fact it was short notice.